Yeah. In your house with O'Con. Hey, O'Con in your house. Hollywood in your house. Hypocrisy's head in the clouds. Curating all kind of loud. Wrestling in front of the crowds. Paragon's holding it down. Anybody can get it. Josh Joseph standing on his decisions. He is the voice. There is no choice. We is them boys in your house making wrestling noise. Moving fast, it's like cruiserweight action. In your house is the perfect distraction. Pumpers in your ears when you in traction. Get this work with some wrestling action. Smoke.
What's up, guys? What's cracking? The Con Man, and I'm in your house. We here. We're ready to make a movie. I hope you guys are ready to make a movie. I hope you guys are with the shits. Because, hey, we're with the shits. And we're ready to talk a little wrestling. That's right. You already know the vibes. Anytime we slide on through, we're here to give you that work when it comes to this professional wrestling business. And that is exactly what we do and we have been doing this entire last week. Guys, it has been really a great week for content. Sunday, we went ahead and gave you our Super Show, our SummerSlam Super Show. We gave you our predictions. Then Monday, we had the Raw preview review show with Joshua Joseph and the Grunmeister. And, of course, it's Wednesday, so you know what that means. That means that, yes, it is time for Dynamite today, but also it's time for the Raw deal with Howse and O'Neal. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring on my co-host here, and that is, of course, Divinely Designed Annie O'Neal. How's it going?
What's up, Con? Everything is fantastic. All of my ducks are in order, and I am paving my inevitable path to world domination, and you're helping me do that. So thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be on the show. I'm so happy. Let's talk some wrestling.
That's exactly what we're going to do.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be great. I hope I have some sort of good role when you dominate the world, like, because I'm, kind of giving you a leg up here. I hope that, I can get some sort of position of power in that new world order that we soon have. But we'll talk about that later. We'll have that conversation at another time, because what we do have to talk about is Monday Night Raw, and we're definitely going to get into it. But I always like to ask my co-host, before we really get started, how was your last week? How has everything been with you, Annie, since the last time we convened?
You know what? I'm on the path of ascension. I am just taking the world over day by day. My mind is right. My health is right. And you know what? With those two in mind, the rest is unstoppable. What's up? How about you? How's it going? You just had tell everyone the chart topping news that the team has just.
Yes, we are in the top 100 wrestling podcasts in the United States. It's great. It's great. I love it. It is.
And you
great.
know what? I'm so glad that you allowed me to jump on the team, but also thank you for doing the work that you do every week, along with everyone else who contributes, and I'm just really grateful to be here. So,
hey, we are happy to have you here. Like I said, I mean, I was pretty transparent when we first started talking. Is like, I just felt like you were the best fit for what we're doing, and you have been since we've started doing the Raw deal. And we're just touching goals. Like, it's crazy to see. Like, we're doing better than Cornette's podcast. Like, what?
I saw that. Like, that was something that I looked at, and then someone else brought it to my attention. I'm like, what? That's
crazy.
Happening? That's happening? Like, heck yeah. So we're clinching in on that number one spot, inevitably, assuredly. So let's go. Number one, man. Let's go.
And if you guys out there want to help myself and Annie and the rest of the team get to that number one spot, it's really simple. All you got to do is go to Apple Podcasts. Make sure that you give us 5 stars there. Leave a review. Most definitely, if you could leave a review, that would be great. But really, just click that 5 stars. It really only takes a second, and it really helps us to stay charted. And it also helps us to, because those top podcasts that are out there, they're the ones that end up being on the default list of, like, when you go into Spotify or you go into Apple, and you're like, you go to the main screen, and there's already like a list of podcasts there that that the app is referring you to. That's how you get there, guys. That's how you get into those top spots and those opportunities to be listened to by people that might not listen to you, but you want to be on that front page so people will give you a chance. That helps us get there, helps us stay charted. So we really appreciate anything that you guys do. We're not asking you for any money or anything like that, at least not right now. But you know, we are asking you to just support a little bit by just hitting those 5 stars. It really truly helps. Really truly helps. Also, I was at WrestleArch 17 this past weekend in Indianapolis. Yes, I made my commentary debut. That was great. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any highlights that you want to tell us about?
Oh man, there was a lot of highlights from the night. I got a chance to see Apollo star Uncle Q. He had a great match in the main event with the dead ringer Aaron Williams. So that was a great one to call. I got a chance to see my boy Eric Dillinger. I know he kind of goes through your area from time to time.
He does.
Yes, Dilly is great. Got a chance to talk to him for a little minute. A lot of the local talent here in Indianapolis, really got a chance to see him and tap in with them. Got a chance to see a really great triple threat match between Jeffrey John, that was Cavron Canyon, that was great, and Braden Lee for their triple threat championship. And man, they put on a show. It was great. It was great. So those are some matches I got to commentate. Like I said, I made my commentary debut. That'll be on IWTV.
Congratulations.
I appreciate that. That'll be up there on IWTV for everybody to check out and whatnot. So that's going to be awesome. We'll drop that link when it becomes available. But I also recorded and wrote and recorded a song track. Yes, and shot a music video for it. It's dropping a little bit later on this week. It's called 1, 2, 3. So it just busy. I just been busy this last weekend.
How many times do you sleep at all?
I get a few hours of sleep.
So you recharge the meat suit and then you're right back at it. Is that what you're telling me?
That's exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is.
Same.
I got to get a little bit of sleep. I can't be like Vince McMahon and just not run off of no sleep. That man is insane. But we got to get a little rest. But yeah, it's been busy. But with that busyness, with all the work that we do, because you do a lot of work yourself and you do a great job. And
I'm just trying to keep up after you.
Hey, we're all doing it together. It's it's iron sharpening iron. You know what I'm saying?
This neck and neck energy, I love it. I'm naturally competitive as a person, so being around the same table as like-minded individuals like yourself, it makes me even hungrier for everything.
I love it.
Absolutely.
And that makes it it's so easy to work with somebody like you. You know what I'm saying? Because of that mindset that you have. So it's really great. It's like Hype was saying in the chat. You're out here smashing gym goals, which is amazing. It's amazing. We love it.
Doing what I can, it makes me happy. So life is way too freaking short not to do what makes you happy. So I will die on that hill.
Yes, me too.
Sure.
Absolutely. But you talk about things that make us happy. I got to say, the Monday Night Raw has been making myself and a lot of people happy in the last few weeks.
And in the countdown right before SummerSlam, how can things even get more heated? Like, I'm on the edge of my seat. Like, what's going to happen next? Who's going to come out next? Like, right before SummerSlam, just the excitement is building and building and building. Absolutely.
And it's like the Grundmeister said on the last episode, the Raw preview review show. If you guys can go back and check that out. It's like I said, this SummerSlam, this is one of the first SummerSlams in years where it feels like a big 4 pay-per-view. Like, I really feel like it has like that Royal Rumble type vibes, lightweight kind of WrestleMania type vibes, but we're definitely walking into a big show, Annie, and it's really exciting, especially since it was the go-home show. Raw's been clicking on all cylinders for the last few weeks, and you really want that go-home show to really be big, and I think that it was, Annie.
I really agree. There's just so many different moving parts to the whole that it's an invitation for everyone to be drawn in. And I just can't help but watch. And as the clock ticks around the face, it's almost here, and I just can't believe it.
Yeah. It's really gonna be a big show. I'm really excited. Pretty much every match is a title match except for the one match that is a very, very heated rivalry, and that, of course, that's Punk and Drew McIntyre. And let's just go ahead and get started right there. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly a great place to start because it did open the show. We had Punk, we had Drew, and we had Seth in his crazy over the top referee outfit.
I don't even know what you call it.
Yeah,
I don't know what you call it.
This man, he definitely deserves to be on a catwalk somewhere in France or something. He's just a fashionista. He is. It's great to see.
I almost want. I don't know if this is reaching, so I'm going to stretch before I reach. But I think Rollins, through his fashion choices, it feels like an homage to some Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, I could see that.
Just he has no fear. He's always ready to push that boundary further and further and further until he just brings it out into the stratosphere.
Okay, what's the over/under that on Saturday we see Seth Rollins come out in biker shorts?
Oh, you know what? We can put a bet on that. I can see it.
I think I can see it too.
I can see it. Do we want to see it? I don't know. Maybe not for me, but for someone else out there.
Yeah, it can work for somebody.
Absolutely.
Everybody's got their thing.
Sure. I mean, I'm just too busy calling to mind what comes out of his mouth rather than his fashion choice because, I mean, what he says on a live microphone just really sums up the experience that is Seth Rollins.
Yes, it really is. And we saw that because he laid down the law and, he said things like he will be a petty little bastard. He doesn't care. Like, they have to listen to everything that he says. It doesn't seem like there was really any set rules or guidelines. It's just do what I say. And could create a hostile working environment for Drew McIntyre and CM Punk.
And, you couldn't have picked the better person to pour the kerosene all over the pyre that is setting off between Punk and McIntyre because Seth just wants to watch the world burn.
Yep.
And I love it. And I really like the mind games that McIntyre was trying to embed with Rollins. It was really, really, really fascinating because we're seeing McIntyre from two different sides of the spectrum. He was hot and heavy. He was ready to come in with the pew-pews blazing. And then he doesn't care. He seemingly does not care. So where does he lie in his mental brain space going into this match? And I feel like Seth Rollins will play a very important part for Drew McIntyre.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely agree with you. And just like Hype is saying here, let it burn, you got to let it burn. So that's exactly what we're going to see. And
I love it.
Honestly, I'm loving this version of Seth Rollins. He can't stand either one of these guys. He has no reason to really play ball with either one of them. I like what you said as far as Drew McIntyre wanting to get inside his head and hey, you hate this guy, I hate this guy. You might not like me, but we could both agree that CM Punk is a cancer, So I like that he did that. Drew McIntyre's character development has just been A1, seriously.
So good.
It's been great to follow, hasn't it? It's just been really great. But Seth Rollins coming in this mix, I like this lane for him because right now, the World Heavyweight Championship scene is just very much jammed up right now with what, at least until what we see after SummerSlam. But, we see Seth Rollins in that mix, and he's always in that mix. And, of course, he was our first iteration of this World Heavyweights champion, and he held it all the way up until WrestleMania when Drew finally beat him, and then Damian Priest cashed in eventually. But you know, it's good to see him doing something else that's not in the title picture, because when he does get back to the title picture, it's gonna mean that much more. You know.
Going back to how Drew McIntyre was trying to play mind games with Seth Rollins. I mean, in my notes, I wrote, "The enemy of my enemy is my friend."
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
So it's almost like Drew McIntyre is trying to condition the audience to switch places with him and CM Punk. Like, even by Drew's hand alone, his actions have painted him as this out-of-pocket, maniacal madman, but he's trying to gain the sympathy of the audience. So as far to really label Punk as that cancerous scapegoat, and he's trying to weasel his way back in to gain the fans back on his side.
Yeah.
And I think it's so fascinating just how a turn of a phrase can just psychologically condition the audience to have a completely different interpretation of someone.
Yeah. I think it is interesting. Like, another thing that I want to quickly call attention to was the bracelet. The bracelet still came into play, and also the no touch rule was still in place. You can tell these guys really, really wanted to put hands on each other, but it's like we talked about last week when we talked about it. They put that in place, and I think that is great, and it's helping build everything. And because when they do touch each other on Saturday, it's going to mean so much more.
And I don't know if you noticed, but how McIntyre really drove home the point that Punk loves the control.
Yeah.
And all of the shots will be called by Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
And that internal conflict that you could see visibly went across Punk's face it's just another layer of the storyline that's just so freaking rich. I love it. And just how outward Rollins is with his hatred toward these men, calling them idiots, calling them morons. Like,
yep. Not holding back. I
love it. Like, whew. Like, and Rollins is just eating up the tension between Punk and McIntyre the entire time. He's just like, dance, monkeys, dance. I love it.
It's awesome. It really is, because it's like he knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. And like you said, he's eating up. You said it well. He's eating up this tension. And it's like he just loves the fact that they all have to succumb to his whim. Like, you can't piss him off. If you piss him off, you're going to almost be guaranteed to lose the match in some kind of way Saturday. So they kind of have to be at an even kill with him, at least until after this match. And then it's going to be interesting to see where it goes from there. Could we see possibly a triple threat between these men? Possibly Bad Blood, possibly Survivor Series. It's a possibility. I think that's what we're going to get to. But at least until we get there, they both have to play ball and listen to what Seth has to say.
And you know what? Thus far, since McIntyre has been playing ball with Adam Pearce, he's really backed down a lot. So he's not losing any of that energy he will need going into this match.
That's a great point. I also think that it needs to be spoken about that, like, Drew McIntyre's, you talked about it, his change of demeanor. How it seemed like he was the head full of steam, ready to jump into a confrontation. And then as soon as he got what he wanted, he was like, you know what? I can wait. I'm good. And he's just playing these mind games with Punk. I think it really speaks to, once again, the character development of Drew McIntyre that we're seeing in real time, that we've been seeing in real time for almost the last year. And it kind of really started when Jey Uso came to Monday Night Raw after Cody Rhodes kind of lobbied for him to come to Monday Night Raw, take him off of SmackDown, give him away from the Bloodline after he had quit SmackDown, him being Jey Uso, and then he brought him over to Monday Night Raw eventually. But that's kind of where it started with Drew McIntyre. Was like, hey, I'm not going to trust this guy. You guys are stupid for trusting this guy. You know, this is the guy who beat us up for months, and now you want him over here. And it was just kind of Drew like, hey, I'm staying over here. You guys are over there. I'm going to be right over here doing my own thing. I'm not friends with that guy. And this is where we kind of saw like Drew really trying to reason with people. Like he was trying to reason with Sammy. I think at the time he was trying to reason with Cody. Why are you doing this? Why are you mixing up with these guys? You don't have to do this. And it really further pissed Drew off. And then, of course, you get CM Punk in the mix and everything that happens with that. He's highly pissed, him being Drew McIntyre. He's pissed that CM Punk is back. Of course, we all knew that, of course, Seth Rollins was pissed that he was back. And this is kind of where it all sparked for Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, which led to the injury at Royal Rumble. And then that eventually led to Drew McIntyre winning the World Heavyweight Championship, not having the ability to leave by his own hand, and eventually CM Punk, screws him over. He loses the title to Damian Priest. Things get further from there. But I have to keep on saying that in this match, and I'm going to ask you your opinion as far as a winner of this match. This is our go-home show before SummerSlam. But I do really feel like that one of the things, the stories in this is Drew McIntyre's self-sabotage. I think that's something that we've talked about for weeks, and it's one of the underlying things that we're not, like, I think that some people aren't really paying attention to, and that's my thought going into the match is, how is Drew McIntyre going to screw himself over and lose this match on Saturday? Because that's exactly what I think is going to happen. And I think he's going to piss off Seth Rollins to a point he might possibly get screwed over. I don't know what your thoughts are.
You know what? You bring up a really good point, because from before this point in time, Drew really was his undoing. He was the cause behind his own self-sabotage. But at the same time, he is the cause for his own rise, too. I really think he really clamped down on that pattern of self-sabotage, and I really think he entered some self-reflection. And I really think he's going to come through with that self-control, because when the opportunity presented itself for him to take what he wanted, he's told himself no. He said, I can wait. He can delay gratification enough for him to lay the smack down on CM Punk. Yeah. I really feel like Drew met himself at that point where he needed to, where it would inevitably spiral out and cause his downfall before we even get there. So I think if anyone is going to screw Drew McIntyre out of that win, I think it's going to be Seth Rollins. Okay. I really do.
Yeah. So okay. Are you counting on that happening, or what do you think is going to happen in this match? What's your prediction, I suppose?
I think it might end in. Oh, there's no disqualifications, is there?
Nope. It's not going to be no DQs, no anything like that.
You know what? I'm really pushing for Drew to get the win. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure why, but I really think Drew has entered enough self-reflection for him to come out on top of CM Punk. I think CM Punk was banking on the fact that Drew McIntyre might not come into this match with his eyes on the goal. And I think he will underestimate Drew McIntyre, and I think Drew will take the victory.
That's a good thought. I think when I think about that, I think about how it could possibly be a situation where Drew just puts him down. Maybe it's going to take more than one Claymore, or maybe it's just going to be a situation where he just completely smashes Punk to a point where Seth has to stop the match. But then on the flip side of things, I see it as Seth trying to push his authority on Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is going to get upset and possibly get himself distracted, which could possibly lead to a go to sleep from CM Punk, which could lead to Drew's demise, which if he actually does possibly lose to CM Punk, I think that there's an opportunity to revisit those two having a match at that point, because I think that losing to Punk could be a situation for Drew McIntyre where it's like, man, I just can't get ahead. Like, this guy screwed me out of the World Heavyweight Championship, at least in Drew's mind. That's how he sees it. He screwed me out of the World Heavyweight Championship. He screwed me out of Money in the Bank, which absolutely did happen, and I think it was, was it the Clash? It was. He screwed him at the Clash. He screwed him so it's just a situation where if Punk actually beats him, it's really going to push Drew McIntyre over the edge to another level where we could see a rematch. We could possibly.
And I have a question for you, Crown.
Yeah, okay.
You raised a really good question, and I'm sorry to cut you off because you have amazing insights. Do you think spite alone is enough for Drew McIntyre to be victorious over Punk?
Spite alone?
Mm-hmm. Because of all the ways that Punk has screwed Drew out of his moment in the sun, do you think that's enough for Drew to emerge victorious?
Yes, and here's why. I think that all that stuff accumulating is going to bring out a more vicious side of Drew McIntyre, I believe. Like, Drew McIntyre is going to keep that stuff in the back of his head as far as what happened. What are we talking? 3 separate times where he screwed him out of a victory? I mean, that's definitely something he can keep in the back of his head. Also, this man is quite literally known as the Scottish psychopath. I think that if he wants to switch it to another gear, that yes, he can definitely just completely and utterly annihilate this man if he really wanted to. And it's not the fact that Punk isn't a good competitor, but it's more of a fact that Drew McIntyre is a freak. Drew McIntyre is a freak athlete, and with a mean streak, a big time mean streak, a chip on his shoulder, and this is the guy who he feels like has screwed him left, right, and left and right. This is also the man who said, "I will come to your family's house." Like, he totally destroyed a pre-show set and had co-host or had host of that pre-show fearing for their lives, pushing off Adam Pearce. This guy, when he goes to that other place, it's a completely different animal. I do believe that.
How far do you, beneath the surface, do you think that almost that energy that lies dormant beneath Drew McIntyre's psyche, how close do you think that lurks to the surface? And do you think that'll come out when that bell rings, when he faces CM Punk on Saturday?
Not immediately. I don't think it's going to come out immediately. I think he's going to go in there and try to play some mind games with Punk. I think he's going to go in there and try to play with his food a little bit, and then Punk is going to start to get the upper hand on him. And once we get to that point, I'll say this. I don't think it'll be until the 11th hour of that match where we see Drew McIntyre unlock and just completely go batty on CM Punk. I think it's coming, but I don't think it needs to come at the beginning of the match. I think you need to build toward him getting to that point.
What do you think it took for Drew McIntyre to almost pivot into that mindset, like, okay, you know what? The self-sabotage isn't serving me, so I got to chill. I got to calm down. What do you think had to happen in order for him to adopt that mindset? Do you think it was that suspension?
I don't think it was a suspension. I think it was him getting what he wanted. I think when he finally knew that he had the match with Punk, I think that's when some of that self-reflection happened. Because once again, like the same point we're making, this is the guy who's screwed him several times out of major opportunities. I think that, and Hype here is saying that Drew's not going to be able to contain himself. The bad guy mind game has been heavy with Punk in this one. I feel what you're saying, but I feel like now that Drew McIntyre's got what he wants, he's going to really lock in. I think that, like you said, Annie, that he's had some opportunities for self-reflection. The self-sabotage thing has been a real, and he's a heel. He should be delusional. Heels are supposed to be delusional on a level. But
aren't the best baby faces to some extent?
Yeah, they are too. I mean, you have to have some hyperbole in what you're doing, but I think that it's going to be a build. I think that Drew McIntyre knows what he wants to do. I think he knows that let's face it. If on paper with the weight, the way these men look, the age, you know, not a big age gap between these men, but like it really looks like that Drew McIntyre could possibly come out on top. But you have CM Punk, who's wily. He's a wily veteran, and he's definitely in a mindset where he's like, he's going to beat this guy. But here's the other side of it. Punk is emotional as well. He's emotional as well with the bracelet that comes into play. And the biggest difference that I see between an angry CM Punk and an angry Drew McIntyre, I think CM Punk is going to be a little bit sloppier than McIntyre with his anger. I think that Drew's going to come in a little bit more calculated. Yeah.
So there was a point in time when CM Punk was coming out, and I don't know if you heard this, but this is something I picked up. It was that the resounding cheers and the ovations from the audience wasn't as apparent this time around.
Yeah.
Do you think the timing of his injuries and his reemergence of being cleared, do you think that has kind of slowed down the momentum of CM Punk at all?
I mean, Punk is Punk. He's always going to get a reaction. But, I mean, it's definitely a thing where if we're seeing him too much, it could become a thing where it's like, we might be seeing a little bit too much of him. And also on top of the fact, he hasn't wrestled since the Royal Rumble. So all we've seen this guy do is talk. I mean, and he's a great talker. He's great on the mic.
Absolutely.
He's awesome on the mic. But, like, come on, man. Like, there's so much, like, possibilities and dream match opportunities that we could have with CM Punk, and every single Monday night that he's not wrestling or PLE that he's not wrestling is just a wasted opportunity. And let's face it, Punk's not getting any younger to be able to mix it up with some of these young guys that people would consider this to be a dream match with.
And is talk enough at this stage in the game? Is that going to be enough to ensure a spot for CM Punk?
Unless he wants to be relegated to hosting PLEs or being on commentary, then no, talk's not going to be enough. We need to see him perform in the ring, 100%.
And there were different points in the time throughout the promo where Punk was getting more interactive with the crowd. There were more Punk chants. Do you think that was perpetuated by the crowd or through the promo itself? It's hard to tell.
It is, because the way, and a lot of that is because of the way WWE is booking their shows. It's more like who you want to like. So the thing about it is, Annie, when we're going to different towns, people have different reactions to people, unless, of course, somebody like Dominic Mysterio, who gets predominantly booed everywhere. But some people, and, you know, it's like Hype is saying here, he makes a good point. He's saying that Drew is not the heel in this. I think that some people kind of are following Drew McIntyre, and they're like, you know what? We vibe with what Drew is saying. You know what I'm saying? And then some other people might vibe with what Punk is saying. And there might be people that just might like Punk because they remember Punk back in 2011 and 2012. So there's just that love for him, you know, as far as nostalgia and everything. But then Drew McIntyre is just coming in, and he's, let's face it, he's become one of the hottest acts in the company, and pairing him up with Punk makes perfect sense because they want to work with each other. They've been carrying the story for months, and hats off to Drew McIntyre for carrying a storyline with an injured guy for 6 months and still making it an amazing story. Like, Drew McIntyre, he needs to, at some point, touch that World Heavyweight Championship. I think it's going to happen, but it'll
be hopefully more than for 5 minutes. Oh my God.
Yes, I think it will be. I agree. I think it's going to happen in the Netflix era at some point. I really do.
I mean, he carried the company through the pandemic era.
Yep.
So I agree. I agree that there will be a belt around his waist for a solid run in the Netflix era.
Got to move on here because there's a lot to talk about with Monday Night Raw. It was just so much to take in. And one thing that I really want to talk about, I want to get to, is everything that's going on with Chad Gable and the Creed brothers. The Creed brothers had a match with Tozawa and Otis and dispatched them. That was done. But that's not really the story here, Annie. The main story is what happened after that when we saw the Wyatt Six enter the arena with Eric Rowan, Joe Gacy, and Dexter Lumis. They come out, and this happened just on the cusp of Maxine Dupree. She was trying to stand on business with Gable.
She was ready to square up.
Yeah, she was ready. Yeah, she was ready to go.
For her.
Oh man, if this was 2002, she would have got an angle slam. I mean, right. I thought it was coming, but it didn't because those lights went out and we saw the Wyatt Six. And I got to ask, what did you think of Dexter Lumis's new look? Like, he looks completely different.
He reminds me of something out of a Rob Zombie movie. And I'm here for, like, whatever is going on with his new character, it's riveting. It's creepy. You never want to turn your back to him. And I'm getting the chills just speaking about it. I didn't even really speak about it yet.
It's crazy because it's kind of like what I said. I think I had been talking in one of our Sunday house parties, and they asked how I think this is going to be presented. They're presenting it in a way that I was thinking they were going to. Yeah, they have the mask, but then they come out and remove the mask. It's not a thing because people were thinking, oh, they're going to wrestle in those big old hot masks. No, I didn't think that was ever going to happen. I thought the masks were going to come off. I think they're going to look menacing under the mask, and that's exactly what we saw. And then we saw Nikki Cross, Abby, jump off that top rope, and she just came in wild and like
a mad woman.
Yes. I'm loving it.
I love the breadth of Nikki Cross's expression. I really feel like she can do anything. Like she's the superhero and she's the maniacal maniac.
Yes.
You just hear someone talking and you can place it. And that person for me was Nikki Cross.
Yeah.
Really, really, really talented individual. And just the cohesion with all of them in the ring so far, and we only got a snapshot of what the Wyatt Six is capable of.
Yep.
And it's so satisfying. And I really liked that they're not wrestling in the masks because you still understand their persona within the Wyatt Six, but you still can draw the parallels of how the individual relates within that unit. That's so cool.
It is. I still stand on the fact that I think that the spirits of Abby and Huskus the Pig Boy and Mercy and Rambling Rabbit and of course Uncle Howdy, I think that those spirits have taken over the bodies of those individuals. I think that's what it is, and that's why they look so menacing as they are. But they're connected in that way, and it's just crazy to me because they're all part of the Funhouse. They're all part of Bray Wyatt's Firefly Funhouse, and they're all came together in a much more sinister way, and now they're just the vessels for these spirits. And I don't know, that's how I view it. That's how I'm seeing it. But I think that it's really been great the way they presented it. They've really done a great job of taking care of it, in my opinion.
So are you thinking that these masks are conduits for the spirit that inhabits them?
I do.
So like that creepy energy just siphons the energy off of that individual person.
Yes.
Starts taking over their corporeal. I love it.
Yes,
I love
exactly
it. You just
where I'm going.
brought this in the Wyatt Six to an even higher level for me. Like that's such an amazing insight, Con, because I honestly couldn't agree more. It's just so exciting. I love the creepy. I love the horror, and I'm a huge fan. Annie is a huge fan.
Me too. I absolutely, I'm a fan too. I'm wondering a little bit, maybe because the match card is so filled up, and it is a filled up match card. They have a match next week on Monday Night Raw, and this time next week we'll be talking about it. But they have a match on Monday Night Raw against the new Academy, which is Chad Gable and the Creed brothers. I wonder why they didn't just put that on SummerSlam. It felt like it would be a good spot, because I don't think they have any tag team matches on SummerSlam. So I feel like that would have been a good spot for it.
Because the women's tag team is being defended on SmackDown. Yep. Yeah, I don't think there are any tag team matches on SummerSlam. But at the same time, I don't think they want to risk the overexposure of putting the Wyatt Six on a pay-per-view yet.
Yeah.
Maybe Bad Blood. I think that would be a very good introduction for them to be on a
good
pay-per-view.
Place to start. It's a good place to start.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What do you think the chances are that we could see the Academy and the Wyatt Six possibly go at it in a War Games match at Survivor Series?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think that the way that I'm foreseeing this playoff, I think Wyatt Six will pick off Alpha Academy one by one. Just given how we saw a very shaky start in their foundation as a unit.
Yeah,
I think that's going to crumble just as easily. But it would be a really good match. Maybe the Bloodline.
I think there's a better chance that we're going to see Bloodline Civil War games. I think there's a better chance that we could see that.
Yeah, sure.
And then possibly, I don't know how, because usually they do a men's War Games and a women War Games. Mm-hmm. Maybe, possibly Damage Control, Shayna Baszler, Sonya Deville, and Zoe Stark in the War Games. I think that. Yeah. I mean, you have somebody like Io Sky, who's a War Games veteran, and has created moments in there. I honestly think that Zoe Stark would be amazing in War Games, but I'm a huge Zoe Stark. I'm a huge stan for Zoe Stark. I just think that with the right presentation for her, she's going to really pop and become a world champion in the future. I really like her.
And what a competitor she turned out to be in Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
I mean, I had no reason to doubt her ability, but just how she turned up and the spots that she was willing to make and just her presentation, like, she's definitely going to be a point of contention in a War Games match. I really, really, really agree.
Yeah.
Give so everything.
Me and The Voice, we gush a lot about our love for Zoe Stark just because I love her in-ring ability. I mean, she is such a great competitor. Like, when she started, when she was the bodyguard for Trish Stratus, I was very, very excited for that because I was like, ooh, once this is done, this is probably going to lead her to something bigger. And she ended up, I think she got a women's world championship opportunity one time, and then after that, she got lost in the shuffle again, and now they're trying to bring her back to prominence with this stable. But yeah, I've been on the Zoe Stark train for a long time. I want to see good things happen for her and her career, and I just think she's a phenomenal in-ring competitor. So I just wanted,
which I absolutely love. I love seeing her emerge in this faction with Sonya Deville and Shayna Baszler. Like, Shayna's the muscle. Deville is the talking piece, but. I really feel like Zoe is a tactician. She is incredible between the ropes, and she's not afraid to do anything to get the outcome she wants. And I absolutely love it.
Agreed. Can't agree more. I mean, I like Shayna Baszler just because of her MMA background and her ability to just break somebody down piece by piece. I love that style. And Sonya, I've always thought that Sonya was great, and I think that she plays her role really well. Any role that you give her, I think she plays it really well. I would almost give her, she gives me female Baron Corbin vibes, just because you give her something, she's gonna run with it, and she's awesome in that way. But Zoe Stark to me is just the best overall wrestler in that group, and I just want when I see her and everything she can do, it really gives me like AJ Styles S-type vibes, where it's like she can do anything. She can fly. She could scrap. She could take it to the mat. Like everything that Zoe Stark does, I just love the fact that she's such a great overall competitor.
And Sonya, I didn't know that she was a national grappling champion. She's trained in judo, budo, jiu-jitsu, boxing, and just these women assembled in a faction, like just the sheer dominance that they bring just by being. I love it. I love strong, badass women. Like,
me too.
I mean, that's what I aspire to be in my everyday life. So I gravitate toward examples like that.
Hey, I love it. I chef's kiss for sure, because as soon as I saw those three were getting together, I was like, give me that. Give me that. Because we've seen what factions can do. We can see what factions can do when you have competitors that are lost in the shuffle. You put them in a faction. Look what Judgment Day has done for every single member.
Oh my gosh.
Every member has done something great. When it was like, oh, what are we doing with Damian Priest? We knew that we had Mommy as a top star, just not in this iteration. And then it's like, okay, well, we like Dominic Mysterio. He's the son of Rey Mysterio, but he's just kind of generic babyface. Finn Balor, hey, there's Finn. He puts on good matches, but whatever. JD McDonough, who even cares about JD McDonough? Nobody. But then you put them all together and they just make it work and sync it up so perfectly that all those names that I just said are now like positioned that if they go off and do their own thing, they're going to be okay. They're going to be fine. Right. They're
credited on their own in a tag team by themselves. Like, seriously, after Judgment Day dissolves, each person within that unit, like you said, they're going to be standing strong alone.
Yes, most definitely, and I love to see it. Hype bringing up. Can we talk about Mia Yim with the trolling? I saw that tweet where she called Sonya Deville and Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler the stud line.
Oh,
what?
That. I can't even contend with that because that's so perfect.
I was going to say it's so perfect. Mia is like Michin.
The level of meme is incredible. Like, you can't even dispute that. Like, if you do, you're just wrong.
Yeah. And I bet they had a good laugh about it and everything. Like, I'm sure they saw it and just laughed their asses off. But like, that's good stuff. That's funny.
Perfect.
But I do want these women to do great things. I love seeing everything that the Wyatts are doing. It's been great. And it's all been moving. We see Carlito, he went up against Jey Uso in a match.
Sure did.
Yup, and Uso ended up winning. Okay, so here's my big takeaway from this. How does Uso not have a match on SummerSlam? He's one of the most over baby faces in the company right now. He knows how to get the crowd going, and they always jump in with them.
Through Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Always tearing through Judgment Day.
Exactly, but it's like he has nothing. I don't understand that. What's your thoughts on that? What do you make of that, Andy? That we don't have any Jey Uso representation on SummerSlam?
And just because he's not featured on the card doesn't mean he won't have a run-in.
Sure, something he could be involved in something.
Maybe there's a point in time where he might even come to Mommy's defense. He might get involved with her match, as we've seen with Liv Morgan intervening with Dirty Dom.
Yeah.
So, what's to say? Like, he told Mommy, but he might. I don't know if I did it right.
No, you did
That's
it right.
Okay. Okay, but if he's not featured on it somehow, it's going to leave me wondering why. Like, you can put him at the beginning of a show, and he can main event Jey Uso, and he's not featured. That's very questionable because he's becoming one of those prominent faces who can do anything.
Yeah.
So I mean, also, it might just be a case of there's so much going on, and I would rather him not have a match than be in something that can easily be thrown away.
Yeah, I would most definitely be like, I'm just wondering what is the story behind that. There's got to be something coming for Jey Uso. I mean, his progression has just been so crazy in terms of him going from a tag team guy with his brother, and they're a great tag team, one of the best tag teams in the company, but now to stand on his own 2 feet, become main event Jey Uso, really become such a big baby face. The crowd loves him. You know, a lot of people on the internet have thoughts about how he's presented or whatever, or they don't like this or like that. Guys, I just got to tell you guys, because I know a lot of you guys that listen to what we do, you guys are really I'm going to call you for what you are. You guys are internet fans, and you just watch on TV, and you don't really go to live shows. You just watch from home. I am telling you, same thing with LA Knight. It's the same thing with Jey Uso. Those live reactions are very real. It's real, y'all. And as long as they're getting those live reactions, it's yes, they're going to care what the internet thinks, but as long as those live reactions are what they need to be, they're always going to push these guys. It doesn't matter if you guys are watching, and that's great, but if you guys aren't going there, spending the money to go there and sit down and get a ticket and whatnot, and you're not seeing what's happening in real time, guys, I've been at a couple of shows for WWE just in the last year or so. I mean, I was at Fastlane last year in October, where Indianapolis completely sold out. I mean, we sold out. I have not seen the arena there that filled up in ever for wrestling, ever. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy to go there and see every single seat filled, and that's eventually what led Gainbridge Fieldhouse to getting a Royal Rumble next year, which I'll be going to that, and then eventually we'll get a SummerSlam, and then eventually we're going to get a WrestleMania. But you guys got to understand that those live reactions are real. So you might feel a certain type of way about Jey Uso when you see him on TV, but as long as those reactions are happening in the live shows, he's always going to have a spot. So I mean, if you don't like him, I'm sorry for you, but he's going to be there for a long, long time as long as those reactions are happening.
He's not going anywhere.
Yep.
He's used to him, for sure. For sure.
And you got hype in the chat saying Triple H don't care about black people in his Kanye voice. And that's
I think he cares more than Vince. I really do.
Oh, yeah. I think so, too. And he's just calling that.
Really do.
He's saying that in a way just because there's no black representation on the SummerSlam card.
Sure.
But my answer to that is this. It's I don't think it's a thing where Triple H don't care about black folk. I've talked about this a little bit on the show. I don't think it's that. I just don't think they're presenting those talents in the way they need to be presented right now. And let's not act like they've never done it. Right now, you have Bianca Belair, who is a face of the company, has been a face of the company before. Right now, she's relegated into a tag team with Jade Cargill. And then the Street Profits, they've been cooled off quite a bit. Bobby Lashley looking like he might be leaving the company.
Yes, there's craziness.
There's really no, to be honest, there's no great black hope right now in WWE. There's no, and if you want to call somebody, that could possibly be that, let's talk about a Trick Williams. Let's talk about a Obafemi. Let's talk about guys like that could come up and be that next, Booker T type talent. And
it's only a matter of time.
Yes.
NXT can only hold so much of that talent before it ramps up enough to spill over onto the main card.
Exactly.
And it's coming.
It's coming.
When Trick is finally unleashed onto Raw or SmackDown, he's going to take the reins and he's not going to let them go. Whenever Trick comes up against Carmelo again, that championship picture is going to be electrifying.
It's going to be huge when those two come back together
Really
again and do it. You know, like I said, I mean, I'm still waiting for Obafemi to develop in the way that they want him to develop, because I just really feel, Annie, that like once Obafemi gets to that point, that's somebody that they're really going to be looking at like, hey, you're going to be our next monster.
I agree. There's something that is, he's almost the complete package.
Yeah.
But there's just some details missing from him right now. And what do you think that is? Because I really can't put the words on it myself. What do you think that might be?
A purpose. I mean, that's really what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Like, when he look at Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker, absolutely amazing. And I think early on in his career, a lot of people knew he was going to be absolutely amazing. He has this explosive athleticism. He comes from a football background. He comes from a wrestling family, and everybody knew, hey, this guy is going to be great. But he became a champion in NXT and did all that, and he did all that great stuff. That's awesome. That's all great stuff. But what was really the thing that clicked with him when he came to the main roster? Oh yeah, that's right. The fact that he got left off the King of the Ring tournament bracket, and that was really what set him off in the first place. In the first place. So when he finally got there, boom, automatically, I have a purpose. My purpose is to destroy everybody because I'm pissed off that I'm not in the King of the Ring. So if you want to do something similar like that with Obafemi, bring him in. Don't just have him in there barreling through guys for no reason. Like, we know he can do that. We know Braun Breaker can do that. Exactly. There has to be a motive. The motive with Braun Breaker is, you left me off King of the Ring. I'm pissed off, and now I'm going to run through your roster. It's got to be something like that with Obafemi, to where it's like, oh, dang, he's coming out the gates hot. So, I think that's what it is. I think he's almost the complete package as far as what he can do. He still needs some refining, which is why he's exactly where he needs to be at, which is NXT. But when that time comes and he gets called up, don't just do vignettes with him. Don't just put him in the ring with ham and eggers. Right. Give him a reason, so that way we care about him right off the bat. So my answer to that question is a purpose.
You know what? You couldn't have explained it more. Like, where was the mark missed with Omos? Because another amazing commanding presence like Obafemi, but what happened to Omos? I was waiting for his ascension into the title picture, but then what happened? The gas pedal didn't go all the way to the floorboard, and the timing has to be right. The timing and the motive.
Yep, most definitely. And I think with somebody like Braun Breaker, that timing was absolutely there, and that motive was absolutely there. And we'll just go ahead and stay there since we're already talking about him. He's got a match, and that's going to be this Saturday.
Yes.
We know Zayn defeated Mysterio by disqualification. He ended up standing tall, him being Sami Zayn. Braun Breaker was looking to send one more message to Zayn, but he found himself retreating and Sami Zayn ended up standing tall. Now, I don't know if you know this, Annie. I'm sure that you do. You've been around wrestling for a long time. Whether the champion or the challenger, whenever they stand tall at the go-home show, it's usually a sign that they're going to lose at the pay-per-view. We saw Sami Zayn stand tall at Monday Night Raw, which could be, which could possibly be a little, a breadcrumb there that's telling us, hey, he might lose. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen in that match Saturday? Because it's going to be another great match, but I think a lot of people are kind of calling for Sami to drop that title.
Mm-hmm. That's honestly, I did not know that. That's an insight that kind of changes the outcome for me, but not really. It just goes, in this point of time, it goes down to how badly someone wants it. Yeah. Braun Breaker is one of the most tenacious, hungry competitors I've seen in a really long time. In my research, there was a line that I read where Zayn is preparing for life after WWE and Braun Breaker. So does the story end there? Because, if Sammy had his time in the sun, there's going to be someone on his heels who might want it more than he does. I mean, he's had a great run with the belt. You know what? Maybe Sammy might be making peace that this might be his final days as being the IC champion. Yeah. And you know what? And his promo, Ron said it all himself. He's at the top of his game, at the top of his profession. When Sami Zayn is on his comedy show, Braun is putting in the work. He's in the gym. He's setting his focus even narrower. So, you know what? It really will be down to that 1, 2, 3 count, because at this point, I really feel like Braun might want it more than Sammy. So we shall see.
That's a great point. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. Yes, Sammy's focus is on other things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're a champion, you got to make sure you're having your head on a swivel, because when you have a challenger like Braun Breaker, who, like you said, is putting that time in on the gym, he's zeroed in on what he wants right now, and that's the Intercontinental Championship. It's you got to be ready for what's about to come at you, and mentally. It's hard to say. It's tough saying this, even these words coming out of my mouth, because I love Sami Zayn. I've met the man. Mm. He's a great guy, and he's a fantastic wrestler, fantastic performer.
Really is.
One thing that I could always ride home about Sami Zayn is that when he goes into a match, he's 110% focused, zeroed in on the task. It feels like for the first time in a long time that I can remember in Sami Zayn's career, it doesn't seem like he's zeroed in on the task on Saturday, and that could end up being his demise, Annie.
It could inevitably lead us there. I mean, every great hero has its foil. Whether he wasn't paying attention enough, whether he comes up short, there will always be someone in pursuit of what you want and what you hold dear.
Yep.
I really like how Braun Breaker didn't even want to talk down about Sami Zayn. He doesn't even dislike him. He gives Zayn all of the laurels that is due. But the fact of the matter is, I think Braun might want it more.
Yeah, that's definitely where it seems like it's the story here, Annie, is that it's time for the changing of the guard to happen with Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker. It really feels like the right time. It does. I mean,
it really does.
Sammy got his victory at Money in the Bank. I just can't believe that we're running this match back to have the exact same result. I just really feel like that Braun Breaker's gonna win on Saturday.
I really do. I think Braun will end the match with his hand held high and a new belt around his waist. I really, really, really do. Yeah. And I think it's time is of the essence with Braun Breaker. You either pull the trigger or you don't. It's going to be the moment where he wins and he gets his push, because at this point in time, Sami Zayn doesn't need it. He's done everything. He's run the WWE gamut. And now, why not just have fun? Why not just enjoy? Because I feel like he'll always have a seat at the table. It really will.
He will, and that's a great point. And sometimes the best thing to do, and especially I really do feel like that Sami Zayn is built from that type of cloth, where he's like, you know what, it's time for somebody else to come in and take this opportunity. Sami Zayn has been around wrestling for a long time. I think he knows how to do the honors. I think he knows how to, give back to the next generation, which is such an important thing in wrestling, is giving back. So I think that could possibly happen. I think that it will happen. I think it's going to be great. And I think this whole match altogether is going to be great. Annie, there's something else that I think has been really, really great, and it really happened on Monday Night Raw. I mean, I was just enthralled, and that's with the final promos of Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley leading up to their massive confrontation this Saturday. I mean, you could argue this is one of the, if not the most important match on the entire card because of all the ramifications going into it. This is not just for the title, Annie. I mean, this has become a blood feud as well, and we can definitely call Drew McIntyre and CM Punk a blood feud. It is that. It is most definitely that. This is also a blood feud, though, and I gotta say,
it is.
My God, those promos, especially like not taking anything away from Rhea Ripley because she's a great promo. It's just seeing everything that Liv Morgan did from that promo, burning the photos, the tears running down her face, the makeup running down. I was absolutely captivated with this version of Liv Morgan. What did you think about these promos, specifically the Liv Morgan one?
Even just beginning with the imagery of the photos going up in flames was so telling. Like, we are seeing a whole different side of this obsession on behalf of Liv Morgan. And I really feel like this is all part of the game. It's a level of nuance I'm even unsure of that I'm bringing it up. I don't even know if it's a part of the game because, she just wants people to feel sorry for her. She wants people eating out of her palm. I mean, it's Liv Morgan, hello. But she just, the messages that she's sending, and you know what? I absolutely love the side of Liv Morgan, and it just goes to show a different side of her obsession that we've been seeing.
Yep.
And I really think this solidifies the next phase in the Revenge Tour. So we will see if it comes full circle on Saturday.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you're saying. I mean, I pulled it up here just because I wanted to see it again. This was, it was a wonderfully produced promo by WWE and Liv Morgan. And what I really love about this promo is not just the fact that Liv was just on another level. I mean, I believe in Liv Morgan. Like, I believe in Liv Morgan now. But also, like, I love the fact that they've told the entire story in those promos. We saw when Rhea injured Liv. We saw when Liv injured Rhea. We've seen all the happenings with the World Heavyweight Championship, with Dominic Mysterio, with the Judgment Day. That's why I say what I say, and it probably sounds crazy to some of you guys out there in the household, but I'm standing on business. I'm saying it. This could possibly be one of, if not the most important match at SummerSlam. So I thought Rhea was just masterful in what she did. Rhea, this is why I say I was just a little bit more impressed with Liv Morgan's promo than I was with Rhea Ripley's, because, and the reason why is because I'm used to this type of greatness from Liv Morgan, or from Rhea Ripley, Rhea Ripley, she's one of the faces of the company for good reason. I mean, she deserves to be where she's at, and she's just one of the best overall acts, period. One of the most unique acts, one of the most overall acts. I love everything that she does. She's one of the best. But not anything against Liv Morgan, but I've always felt like there was a little bit more Liv could have gave us with some of her work. It was a
breakout performance from Liv Morgan for sure. I saw the inner workings of her mind to the forefront. I saw the visceral response that she had to the betrayal that she interpreted from her own experience. Yep. And I really, really saw from that moment, at least I did, that she really is using Dom Mysterio as a pawn, and he's nothing more than that to her.
Yep. And it's all just been motivation in her revenge tour. and I love it.
It
I
really
love,
has. And what is the motive that drives this sort of behavior on behalf of Liv? What does she want? Is it the title? Is it the man? Is it the revenge? What really is the driving force?
That's a good question. That's a good question because it's like, my question is, what's at this point, what's enough for Liv Morgan? Because she's like, there was a point where you could have argued that she successfully took everything from Rhea Ripley. I mean, you could argue that she had the title, she had Dominic Mysterio, she was hanging out in the Judgment Day clubhouse, and nobody really batted an eye at it except for Damian Priest. Like, she had everything that Rhea had. She had it all. So I guess my question for you is, what do you think? What do you like if for whatever reason, if she does retain this Saturday, which I'm calling that she is, I think that Liv is going to retain because there's a bigger story in Rhea continuing the chase. What do you think is going to be enough for Liv Morgan? What's the end game for Liv Morgan here?
I think she wants to watch the world burn. I think that's it. There's probably no other just reason than she wants to see the world burn. I mean, and envy and jealousy is a really interesting human emotion because for a while she did experience everything that Rhea Ripley wanted and has. She had the man, she had the titles, she had the prestige, and is it enough? Is walking through life and being like Rhea Ripley, was that enough for Liv Morgan? And I just don't think that it was. She had everything and then wanted none of it. Yeah, because it's crazy. Like, you have everything in your hands. Like, you have everything right there in your hands. And you just got to ask yourself, like, what you have it all in your hands, but now what's going to be enough? What's going to be enough? And like, this Liv Morgan story, Annie, to be honest, like, I love Rhea Ripley. I love her. She's definitely one of the best things. But like, this character development with Liv Morgan has got me absolutely captivated. And I'm going to have to agree with you. For a while, I was unsure of how to feel of Liv Morgan. Her title reign, it was okay, I thought, but this one promo changes so much of the game for me. Thinking about everything that we've said and talked about with Liv Morgan, it just makes me think of a quote. What shall it profit a man or woman if they shall gain the whole world and lose their own soul? And it really feels like that at this point, where Liv Morgan had everything, maybe Liv Morgan's lost herself. She has. And you know what? That was, I kind of had a similar response when during that promo where she was standing above like the trash can and everything was on fire. And it just reminded me a witch, and she was tired of her heartbreak or something sent her over the edge. And she was just, I don't know, summoning the forces of the universe to do her bidding. And you know what? I feel like we are approaching a fallen Liv Morgan. Yeah. Where she will be driven past the point of madness, and then everything will fall where it will. And I love it. I love the chaos. I like it too. Yes, I like it too. Man, we could really see some sort of a broken version of Liv Morgan at some point. We got Hype in here saying he's not backing an abductor, talking about Rhea Ripley. He said Rhea Ripley gave Dom Stockholm Syndrome, and Voice says sewer rats always float. So, God. I love it. I can't disagree with that. It's wild. I love it. But let's talk about this main event before we slide out of here. Call this a really great episode, which it has been. It's been a blast. Amazing.
But I know you got some happenings a little bit later, and you got some cool stuff going on, and I don't got nothing cool going on. I'm just lounging around here.
Always have something cool going on. I don't believe that for 1 minute.
I just always keep myself busy. But,
Sure.
Finn Balor, he was pretty busy. He had his hands full with Gunther in the main event, and like this. Okay, let me say it for what it is here. Like Gunther versus Finn Balor, it was the main event of Monday Night Raw. That could easily main event a PLE. I mean, it just could.
I was just about to say, I want to see this match again and again and again and again.
Yeah. It ended with Gunther ended up defeating Balor, which is really, I mean, it's not a shock to me. I mean, Gunther's got to keep momentum going into Saturday. But what did you think about this match? What did you think of the happenings from the match?
I really thought it was really interesting because earlier in the night, Priest felt that he should be in the corner of Finn Balor.
Yeah.
And Balor was like, no, I got this. And then, I really felt like that was the beginning of Finn trying to turn away from Damian Priest.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you want your leader in your quarter? What changed? I think
there's something, not to cut you off, but I think there's something going on with Finn where he's kind of feeling inadequate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you got Gunther that's floating around, and Gunther even in his promo said, Finn, you were great and you were one of the best in the world and you still are, but ever since you started running around with the Judgment Day, you've just become one of them, street trash, and yada, yada, yada. So he's like, I hope that you show me who you really are. And like, I really feel like there's this chip on Finn's shoulder where he's like, okay, I see my boy, Damian Priest. He's the world champion. He's getting everything, but damn, it should be me. So like, and I've been saying for months, that if you're not paying attention to what Finn Balor is doing, you need to be paying attention because Finn is going to do something very, very soon. And I think that this main event from Monday Night Raw, just kind of was a tip of the iceberg to what could be Finn Balor doing something at SummerSlam and maybe beyond that.
At SummerSlam, I really do feel like Finn will cost Priest the belt.
I said
really
the same thing.
I really do. Like, you gave me that little breadcrumb, like, to watch Finn Balor, and honestly, it flew under the radar for me. But that just goes to show how rich the storylines have been in WWE the past 6 months. But it was magic watching these two in the ring. I really feel like once Gunther basically likened Balor as street trash, I mean, you are who you hang around with.
Yep.
And I really feel like that snapped something inside Gunther or Balor's psyche.
Yeah, I could see that. And I just think, listen, Annie, I really feel like that Finn Balor is tired of playing second fiddle. Like,
I agree.
He's played second fiddle for a while, and he's handled it with some grace. But now I think he's like, all right, man, there's not like, I don't got a whole lot of time to be on top. I was Universal Champion. I was the first ever Universal Champion, and that got cut short due to injury. And ever since then, like, I haven't really been able to find my footing in a way to where I can get back to touching that World Heavyweight Championship. And Finn Balor really is that damn good. Like, I think because he's just become such a mainstay on the main roster that we forget how good he really is. And he really is that damn good. And I think that there's somewhere down the line, there's a future where Finn Balor can be a World Heavyweight Championship. But whatever it is, it's going to come after what happens with Damian Priest.
I agree. And you know what? Who's to say that Balor and Priest won't go toe-to-toe one day?
Yep. I think it's coming. I really do.
I think it's coming too. I mean, it would only make for more of the rich storytelling that we've been getting from the WWE. And there's no better line than former comrade against former comrade.
Yeah, most definitely. Once again, I just really think that they've really built this SummerSlam in such a way where it feels huge, a lot of big happenings, and it's going to be interesting Saturday night. I know I'll be locking into it live, so I'll be checking it out. I don't know if you'll be doing the same, Annie, checking it out on, because you probably got a lot of other stuff you could be doing on a Saturday night. I would have been booked that night, but I have my daughter's birthday party, so I will be free that night to sit down and watch that. But I'm gonna check it out, and I think it's gonna be huge. I think that I think that is. It's going to be one of the biggest shows. Voice is saying in the chat, that is true, that Grunmeister's going to be having a watch-along for SummerSlam. So you guys out there in the house call or in the household, whichever it is, he's going to be live. So we'll definitely have that ready to go. And then Sunday, we're trying to get everybody together for a big house party to talk about the fallout from SummerSlam. I think we got Annie confirmed and locked in for it, which will be her house party debut, which will be awesome.
Yes,
trying to get Paragon come in and give his insights. He'll be fresh off of a match against O'Shea Edwards at Emerge. That is this Saturday. So Emerge 80, bring the heat, and it'll be Paragon World Heavyweight Championship, Emerge World Heavyweight Championship against the big kaiju O'Shea Edwards. That's going to be a huge, massive match, and it's going to be great. But Annie, I think everything that you do is great. You bring a great dynamic here to In Your House. You do awesome stuff with your podcast, with all the work that you do with pre-shows and ring announcing in your area there, here in the Midwest, for professional wrestling. So I want to give you that opportunity to plug anything that you have coming up, plug your podcast, give it all to the household so we can follow all your musings and everything you do.
Sure. I am the host of Bumping and Thumping, the Indie Spotlight, for everyone in the Midwest. I have an episode with Heather Blue that's dropping this week. Last week we talked about how she was feeling before her inevitable entrance into the first ever four-way for the FU Women's Championship. She emerged victorious, so she is the first ever FU Women's Champion. That drops probably tomorrow. I have Leela Hall on deck. She is inspirational. This week I have a show at MPWA in Saline, Michigan. And after that, I will be going to a party to watch SummerSlam. Hopefully I'll be able to tune in and show my undying support for the watch along, and I'm so excited. And then Sunday, I have my first ever
house
communing
party
with the rest of the house. So that's what I got going on this week. More gym sessions, more jiu-jitsu. So that's what's up. Yeah, okay. So that's what I got going on this week.
Awesome. We love to hear it. You like I said, you're just a great energy to have around the team. It's awesome. And you're a hard worker. Like all the stuff that you do with your local wrestling scene and your podcast and coming on and making this. And then you also do work with other podcasts as well. Like you're just really out there grinding. Like I know I've talked about having you and your boyfriend come out to the Midwest and try to getting you do some stuff here in this area, which would be awesome. Absolutely. Here in Indiana specifically, we're both the Midwest, but like just to get you out there more, because like I thoroughly enjoy hearing you talk about wrestling and hear your Indie Spotlight podcast, and when I see somebody that's working hard like that, I just really want to try to do what was done for me, and that's Absolutely. Give opportunities. You know what I'm saying?
And then I'll only give that back to the person who precedes me. So it's how the cycle goes. So I'm excited.
That's exactly how you give back to professional wrestling. I think that's it's a very, very simple thing that I think it's lost on a lot of people, but it's not lost on me. It's not lost on this team. It's not lost on anybody on this team. We're all iron sharpening iron. We're doing great things, Annie. We're touching goals that a lot of podcasts aren't touching, jumping in the top 100, just doing so much great things we're now the next goal for us is to jump into that top 50 and really just catapult ourselves. Like, I don't think that it's out of the question for us to get to that point. We've come so far. We put in so much consistent work, and I just love to see it. I love to see it.
It's only upwards momentum from here, my friend. Straight to the moon and beyond. So,
absolutely. There you go. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. We got it.
Did it. Cool.
The voice says if we hit top 10, he's getting the IYH tattoo.
Let's
go. There we go. We're going to do it. We're going to get to that point. We're going to get to that point.
I agree.
Guys out there, as far as me, you already know where you can catch me at, right here at In Your House, doing my thing. And guys, I will not be at Emerge 80 this coming Saturday, but you guys should definitely still go and catch a great card in Columbus, Indiana. Go check out everything that they're going to be doing. I got a lot of stuff coming in the woodworks. I got the music video. We're going to be doing a listening party for the music video this Sunday on the house party after we talk about SummerSlam. So that's going to be happening. We're going to be doing that listen party right there on the podcast. So that'll be moving there. Then, of course, Friday, we're going to have another one of our ECW watch-alongs. That's another thing that's going to be coming up. That has been fun. That's been an absolute blast. Last week, we watched Taz versus Bam Bam Bigelow at Living Dangerously 98. That was a fun one for the World Television Championship. That was a great match. And then Grunmeister is going to have his SmackDown preview review show, Grun's Room. Check that out. Saturday, he's going to be doing a live watch-along. The Smoke Session from Hypocrisy Jones is going to be coming this Thursday. Sunday, we're going to be doing the house party for the fallout of SummerSlam. Guys, we just got a lot of content moving for y'all. We need you guys to give us those 5 stars, give us those downloads, keep us charted. Anything that you guys can do to support myself, Annie, this great team that we have. Go check out everything that Annie is doing with her podcast. Go check out everything Hypocrisy Jones is doing with the Kokomo Press and his live comedy shows. Go check out Grunmeister. Go check out his Twitch. Go check out Paragon's Wrestling. Go check out Hypocrisy Jones. Like I said, his stand-up comedy. Also, Paragon is doing stand-up comedy. This is a team of grinders, guys. This is a team of dreamers that really want to go out there. The voice, Josh Joseph, he does a great job with hosting these watch-alongs. He does his preview review show on Mondays, the Window Liquor show. Check that out. Like I said, a group of grinders, guys. But as far as I go, you already know it's Alakhan House at all those social medias. Follow me there. And then, of course, go ahead and follow In Your House Pod and the In Your House Wrestling Podcast. That is on Facebook right there. And, of course, the HOWSC, and that W stands for work. So, guys, for Divinely Designed Annie O'Neal, for the voice Josh Joseph, for Hypocrisy Jones, for Grunmeister, for the world's most dangerous podcaster, I am Alakhan the Concept House, here to remind you to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to hop on this bandwagon, get on, or get gone. Because the household, we are still going mighty strong. You guys have a great day and a great rest of your week. Peace.
Yeah. In your house with O'Khan. Hey, O'Khan, in your house. Hollywood in your house. Hypocrisy's head in the clouds. Curating all kind of loud. Wrestling in front of the crowds. Paragon's holding it down. Anybody can get it. Josh Joseph standing on his decisions. He is the voice. There is no choice. We is them boys in your house making wrestling noise. Moving fast, it's like cruiserweight action. In your house is the perfect distraction. Pump and see your ears when you in traction. Get this work with some wrestling action. Smoke.